Now switching to another intelligence source, former Air Force Assistant Vice Chief of Staff and NewsNation senior national security contributor, Lieutenant General Richard Newton is joining me now. General Newton, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Good morning, Nick, and let me echo the Colonel's position. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Hey, thank you, sir. We just heard Colonel Lerner talk about how he can't share too much. We can understand the position he's in, but how could Hamas benefit from this temporary ceasefire? And who benefits the most from a ceasefire?
Well, I certainly think Hamas does. Israel was really gaining significant momentum on the battlefield, especially in the northern part of the Gaza Strip and Gaza City and so forth. But again, they're on what I would call the horns of dilemma. There's lots of not only domestic pressure but international pressure for the ceasefire and to get at least these what could be 50 hostages released. So that said, but it really impedes the Israeli defense forces, both in the ground and in the air, frankly, their momentum now as Hamas tries to escape to the southern part of Gaza. So it gives Hamas the advantage of being able to regroup and reset. It also gives them an opportunity to kind of be seen as a victim here in this information war campaign that they're conducting and so forth. So I think the advantage here is Hamas, but I don't believe, frankly, Prime Minister Netanyahu has no other choice. And it's a tough choice, but the right choice, and to protect his citizens and to get as many hostages home and back to their families as possible.
Yeah, General Newton, I want you to expound on that because these decisions are not made lightly. We know for a fact that former National Security Advisor John Bolton has said that any type of delay or pause is bad strategy. But talk about why this is such a delicate deal to be made. And the deal has been delayed at least a day, and it seems both sides are weary to commit with any assurance that the other side will follow through. What will it take to get the wheels turning on this deal?
Well, I think, first off, as Hamas sees the opportunity and they see that the ceasefire is actually going to take effect, you'll see them provide what I would expect to be, say, 10 hostages or 12 hostages a day or so. The first number is going to be 50 over a 4-day period. They'll extend that. In fact, we're already seeing them extend that now. By this morning, while the American people were waking up for their Thanksgiving morning, there were supposed to be some hostages released from Hamas, as I understand it, directly to the Red Cross. But that's not happening, and so it's going to begin perhaps tomorrow. But that's the whole lie. This is the whole playbook of Hamas, is to try to control the timeline. Let me back up. The reason they took the hostages in the first place back in that brutal attack on October 7th was to eventually use the hostages much like they do on the battlefield as shields, but in this case, to use it as leverage in negotiation to extend, their positions on the battlefield. In this case, the extension is a matter of time. They want this thing to be a stalemate. They want to have domestic, but certainly international pressure against Israel, to delay now what has been a very effective ground campaign. And so the concern is, at the strategic level, I would be advising certainly the president or even Prime Minister Netanyahu, the concern is that Israel is now forced into a position where they have to go into what I would call perpetual ceasefires as the hostages in a very limited basis are returned.
And General Newton, because I have less than 30 seconds here, Prime Minister Netanyahu has made it clear that eliminating Hamas is still Israel's goal. How could that stance impact future negotiations?
Well, I think the only way he can really have any leverage in these future hostage negotiations, and Israel is very experienced in these hostage negotiations through the years, Nick, but is to really provide, to make sure that the Hamas and other adversaries understand that they're still a very powerful force. They've got the strong support of the United States. We're going to continue to resupply them. So the only way that they're going to be able to negotiate effectively in the future, and certainly for the fate of the hostages, but again, to stay on that war aim of destroying Hamas, is just showing that capability and demonstrating that capability. And once the ceasefire is over, is to go back to work and start to begin to, continue to destroy Hamas, especially now in the southern part of the Gaza Strip, Nick.
Lieutenant General Richard Newton, thank you again, sir. Sir, one last question. Any message to our men and women serving overseas?
I say, very proud of those who are serving, particularly this generation of our men and women in uniform. You and I have been in uniform before. To me, this is the greatest generation of Americans serving. We're grateful for their service and their sacrifice, but also for the support of their families who are standing by them. And we've got hundreds of thousands of men and women downrange outside the United States protecting our freedoms. We should be very grateful for them and their service and their loved ones.
Lieutenant General Richard Newton, sir, thanks again for joining me this morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.